We got FishKing here, everybody. The first thing I wanted to ask you, so the power went out last week in Lexington. Everybody was kind of went off the walls. Everybody didn't know how to act. So we're a week behind, but at first we were a little delayed because you had a little bit of an accident.
Yeah, man. So we were actually in Colorado. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. Still a little sore, but got out there. That's the first time in Colorado actually for our bachelor trip, and got on the snowmobiles first time, and took a little bit of a tumble. So
How'd that happen? Like you just
I got an uncle. He's crazy. He's kind of a daredevil, and of course, I'm kind of following up, trying to, not hold anybody back.
live up
Exactly.
to the time,
So I've ridden like I guess 4-wheelers and all that stuff my whole life, but snowmobile is actually a little harder to ride than it looks.
yeah.
So you got to kind of lean more, and you got to be careful not to just shoot at 70 miles an hour down the thing, because they're so fast.
How do they break? I'm actually kind of curious.
So how does the snowmobile break?
Yeah, how does it break?
Oh,
Like-
so it has like a I guess like a little toggle, just like a
Yeah.
jet ski or anything. If you kind of
Yeah,
I guess
know-
familiar
yeah,
with
yeah,
that. But yeah, so like the trigger is right up here, so you can like very easily kind of get, I guess, a little trigger happy, and
Yeah.
they'll roll like 70, 80 miles an hour depending on which one you have. And these are kind of like I guess a sport version, so they're a little
They were going
lighter,
quick,
a little
yeah.
faster, and
More agile.
yeah. And so we were up there, and there's like 14 foot of snow up on the mountain. We're riding through trails, and my uncle, he hits this jump, and I'm like, man, that looked pretty cool. Like, I want to try that out,
Yeah.
So I go hit it one time, a little slow, and I'm like, man, this is fun. Like, got a little bit of air, but nothing too crazy. Then I went the second time,
You
and
thought I was gonna,
dude,
I'm gonna take it.
it was like a world star moment, like or a fail army where you fly over the handlebars, and I crashed
Oh.
my hip right into the side. I thought I broke my hip and shoulder. I was laying on the ground, and everyone's dying, laughing, but I'm like, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
And turns out, I guess I just kind of dislocated my hip and got a bad bruise. But
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
dude, knee, hip, and ankle injuries, I swear, are the worst.
Dude,
they
it's-
just feel the worst.
it's awful. Like and of course the next day we flew out, right? And like I swear, all of our gates at the airport were like the farthest ones away.
Oh,
So
so you had to walk.
oh, dude, I'm like
Oh my
hobbling.
gosh.
I'm like underneath my breath. I'm like, man, this sucks so bad.
Yeah.
But learned my lesson. Luckily I had a helmet on, or I'd be missing all my teeth. I smacked my
Oh, wow.
face on the like the front little dashboard there, but helmet took the fall. So
Dude, thank God you had a helmet, bro. Wow.
without it,
See,
mm,
being on the snow, I can't imagine, just makes it 10 times worse.
oh my gosh.
I
And
mean-
we're freezing, and it's like the wind's blowing like 30 miles an hour. It's just
Yeah.
like I just wanted to get home after that. I'm like, man, this is
Did
it's
you
enough
leave
fun.
because of that? Like you were just like ready to go?
No, so it was actually our last day, and we had contemplated staying another few days, and we were going to ski actually, but luckily we didn't, because I wouldn't have been able to ski. And a few other guys got hurt skiing the days before, but it was a great time.
Yeah.
Just learn my lesson,
What are some other little stuff you did? Did you get to enjoy some other stuff while you're out there?
So actually, when we flew in, I guess part of the enjoyment is the experience. So we flew in, all our buddies were there, and when we came in from Denver, actually we had a 3-hour drive to Aspen to my uncle's house, and
So
there
your
was
family out there.
yes,
Okay.
well, it's a vacation home,
Yeah,
so they
yeah.
go there, hang out, got a nice little place there, and when we came in, there was a 4-foot snowfall, I guess, within
Oh,
like the
wow.
last whatever time.
Kind of trapped you in.
Yeah. And so it took us, it's only a 3-hour drive from Denver to Aspen, and it took us 2 days pretty much to get there. So we had to stay overnight. Thought we were going to have to sleep in the interstate in the car.
Gosh.
But
Oh,
we
so
ended
you
up.
were like really
Oh,
trapped
dude,
in.
it was crazy. I had never seen anything like that. People were sliding into each other. And,
Oh.
in Kentucky, like if we get
Dude.
2 inches of snow,
People are kind of like, ugh.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah. But like they're in Colorado, they're like, oh, shoot, we're going to school, no snow days. Everyone's out driving.
Yeah.
And once it turned night, man, it got scary. And luckily we found a place, watched the UK game, which was nice.
You know what that
But-
reminds me of? You said people were sliding into each other. Have you ever seen those like traffic jams? There's usually really bad ones in like Texas when it snows a lot because people can't drive there because of the snow. They never have snow. And like there'll be like a pile up on the highway. Those are so scary. Like that, like if it would happen bad.
I swear to you not, we were seeing stuff like that happen from our hotel where like people were they were stopped, like big trucks, and all of a sudden you just see a car flying down like 50 miles an hour into oncoming, like
That's
it was
so
terrible,
dangerous.
man.
Oh gosh.
And luckily we pulled off, and I think they were able to figure it out, but like it was just my other uncles, they drove the whole way, and they
Yeah.
said it took them about 12 hours.
Yeah, I mean, dude, snow. Dude, I hate snow. How do you feel about the snow? It's like,
I'm not a huge fan. I love getting behind like a 4-wheeler and getting pulled like on a board or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
other than that, dude, just
I
I think
like it
it's
like
just
maybe once or twice a year. Like in being in Kentucky, when we have like a light snow, I think that's all right, a few times a year. But
a little Christmas action, little
yeah,
Christmas,
yeah, yes, little
little
white
snowy Christmas.
Christmas,
Yeah,
yeah, and then but more than that, dude, I'm like I'm ready for it to be spring again.
I
I'm ready
know,
for it to be
bro.
summer or
I
fall.
think the only good thing that comes out of snow that I can remember is snow days in school. Like
Yeah,
that was the best feeling. You wake up in the morning, don't have school, didn't study for that test, and you're just like, yeah, I
thank
got that
you.
snow day that you're banking on. I banked
Yeah.
on a lot of them, and a lot of them didn't turn out how I wanted it to. But
Did you ever as a kid, I might have been the only one that did this, but did you ever like put a spoon out? It's like you put a spoon out for it to either snow or for it to not snow.
so I had friends that did that, but I never understood. I guess like what people do, like wear their pajamas inside out or like put ice.
Yeah,
I
I
was
don't
never like a
know.
supersticious guy.
Yeah.
I just would be like, no, I'd just be like, we're having a snow day, no matter what. I'm not studying for any tests. Like I'm just gonna do my thing. And yeah, like I said, a lot of times it didn't work out. Had to go to school when I was all angry in the morning.
Yeah, dude, I hated school. But with that, we'll stop talking about school. No, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, man, you talked to me a little bit about your love for animals as a kid and how your mom had monkeys. I want to hear about that, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to hear about that.
Yeah, so growing up, we're talking back in the 80s, 90s. Actually, my mom or my granddad, who's still alive today, he actually bought a chimpanzee, which is a little bit different than a monkey. A chimp's more like or I think it's
Yeah,
the closest animal to a human. And so they actually flew it in from, I think it was Texas, and it was like some kind of rehabilitation program for like this chimp that had, I guess, either the parents died or whatever.
oh, it was like
And so,
abandoned.
yeah, so they
Yeah,
got it as a little baby, and as you all know now, like there's a lot more news on chimps that they're like so dangerous,
yeah.
especially when they get older. I think as a 1-year-old, they're like able to lift a car. So you just imagine,
As a 1-year-old,
it's something like that. Like they're
that's
way stronger
actually
than they're
crazy.
way stronger than a man, even
Well, I mean,
at a
you've
baby
seen them
size.
like unfortunately like rip people apart, literally.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, like for no reason. It's almost like obviously they're a wild animal, but it's almost like they just can flip it like that. It can be the sweetest things ever, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden, they can just flip on you and
You know what's
your
crazy to
nose is
me?
gone.
I just thought about this. How do they get so strong? It's not like they're lifting weights. Like humans, we have to train to be able to like accumulate muscle. They're just like naturally freakishly
Dude, that's
strong.
what I don't understand that. Like it's
Like, are they doing push-ups?
they got to be doing something like some
Yeah.
kind of like chin ups or whatever. But
Yeah.
you would think because they're not huge. Like they're like I mean a gorilla you might be like, oh yeah, like
Yeah, they're just
that thing
naturally huge.
just huge. But a monkey's not like it's 10 foot tall and big wide arms.
Yeah.
It's like almost kind of
smaller than us, but
reminds you of a
way
human
stronger.
in a way. And so yeah, she grew up with that, man. And unfortunately, they had it for about 3 years. Treated it just like a kid. Like they said, the news was at their house every single day.
Oh, really?
They would take it to like football games or restaurants.
Oh, so this was kind of like a famous monkey. Like they had like a lot of uh publicity
For sure.
publicity
I think the
around it.
news was very much involved with it. And obviously they didn't get it for that reason. My granddad is like the biggest animal lover I've ever known in my life. He's
Yeah.
kind of like passed it down to me. But he's like, it was always his dream. And now, like, this is totally not legal here. And a lot of stuff has changed and there's been a lot more information about it.
Yeah.
But just a chimp was like what he wanted to do, and that's the route he went. And it's pretty
I'm
crazy from what I hear.
I'm curious. At the time, you said this was in the 80s or 90s?
So I think it was my mom was 12, so we're talking mid 80s,
Mid 80s.
mid late.
I wonder how much the monkey was then, and also how hard it was. Like, because we were talking a little bit about it with laws and stuff. You cannot keep them in majority of the states. So, like, I wonder what it was like then. It was really
So there's actually some pictures from my granddad, and I've talked to him a lot about it because like me and him have always connected on that level. And he's 80 years old now,
Yeah.
and so he's like one of my biggest mentors in my life, and I've always been someone I've looked up to. And so like me and him would go out to dinner and be like, their name was Susie actually on the monkey.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I would just talk to him. I'm like, how did you acquire this, and like what kind of happened? And I guess someone reached out to him and kind of knew about what he wanted to do and
Yeah.
what was his dream. And so I think he paid $20,000 for it back then, and now they said that would be equivalent to
Like 40, 50 grand now. Or
I
maybe
think, which
more.
is so that's actually super cheap
Yeah.
for a chimp. Like nowadays, if you could even get one, I think you're looking at least a couple 100,000, if not
Really.
$500,000.
Well, not only that, everything it needs. It's
Oh my
literally another human. Like, I'm sure
dude, it would be
takes
crazy. And I mean, obviously, you're talking about the cage it would need, the food,
A
the
whole
vet.
home. Yeah.
Like imagine trying to find a vet that would even want to see a chimp
You're
because
right,
it's so
because it's
dangerous.
dangerous. Yeah. Have
I
you
mean,
ever? That just reminds me. Have you ever seen? Last year a movie came out called Nope.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
There's a story in it about this, and I could be wrong, but I believe it's based on a true story. But there was a chimp that was pretty much cast in a role in a movie, and so they had this chimp, and it was like you said, it was majority of the time it was good. It was perfectly fine, and then one day there was an incident on stage, like a balloon popped or something, and he went nuts. He went nuts and killed somebody, and like it was really bad. It was really vicious.
Was it part of the movie, or was that like an
No,
offset?
like I said, if I remember correctly, the story is true, and it was like on set, the monkey killed somebody. Yeah, it was like a big thing. I hope that's not just part of the movie in Nope, but like I said, I think it's
Like
based on a true
Cocaine Bear.
story.
Have you seen that? I haven't seen it yet,
No,
but
I
like where
want
the guy
to.
goes and like just wipes everybody, or the bear goes and just
Eats everybody.
yeah, kind of like that.
But
But
dude, chimps are amazing though. Like just like being around humans and the similarities, like you've seen them do like little tests online and stuff, like even seeing like monkeys do the games and stuff like that on the computer. It's crazy
yeah,
that they can like pick it up so
it's pretty
fast.
crazy. I actually I listened to a podcast recently with Elon Musk on it, and they were talking about the Neuralink and like just all this crazy stuff they're coming out with, and I guess they're been testing chimps or just kind of to see like
Yeah.
what they could figure out. And I guess they're saying like they could play is it called Pong? It's like a game on the computer. It's like a very basic game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like it slides around, you hit the little dot, and they said like a chimp can play that. And like I've never personally had any encounters with a chimp, but I mean it would be pretty crazy to
See them
just
do
see an
that.
animal
Use
like,
technology. Use
Exactly.
technology like as if it was a human.
like an
That
iPhone.
is-
Like if a chimp could use like an iPhone, like I would be like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you've seen those videos of like there'll be people at like the tourist attractions, and like, dude, there was this crazy video one time. There was this guy, and he was like playing with a monkey, and it was just like roaming around him. And dude, it literally took off, or like he had his jacket off, or the monkey took the jacket off of him. And dude, the monkey like put the jacket on like he was a human. And it just seeing it is so weird because it's like it's not a human, but it's acting like a human.
yeah, just
Yeah.
it's so crazy. And I had a thing about the chimp. I actually have a friend who he owns a zoo in here in the United States, and they actually sell paintings from the monkey. His name is Limbani.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so I guess the monkey loves to paint, and so they give it paint brushes, and they actually sell like the artwork, I guess, for thousands of dollars, which is
That's super
unbelievable.
cool.
Like the monkey can. I mean, the artwork's obviously not going to be like
The Mona Lisa.
yeah, the Mona
Yeah.
Lisa, but it's just pretty crazy that
Yeah.
you can buy a painting from a chimp.
I think they do the same thing with elephants, don't they?
Like with the hoofs and stuff like that,
Uh,
or they let
The
it.
trunk, yeah.
That's
they
pretty
do it,
cool, dude.
yeah.
I've never seen that before, but
I would definitely have one of
guarantee
those
it.
in my house, though.
dude, it'd be
It
so
doesn't
cool.
even matter if it looks cool.
Someone was telling me that
Yeah.
one sold at auction for like $50,000, and I don't know if that's
wow.
true, but $50,000 chimp painting. I mean, that's pretty
I-
one of a kind
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
for
But
sure.
we'll get back to your love for animals. So you said your grandfather passed that down to you. How did you get into? We'll get. We'll kind of get into your fish side now. So where did the fish come into play? Like how did it start? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so when I was young, I never really kept aquariums, which I've been seen doing a lot more so
Yeah.
recently. But I really got into actually fishing with my granddad. So they had a creek in their backyard, and we actually lived there for a year while our house was being built here. And so like every day, I would wait for him to come home because he still works today.
Yeah.
And so I wait for him to come home, and he would take me out fishing in the creek. And like that was just like some of my first memories.
Yeah.
And like teaching me like how to unhook the fish and how to cast the rod. And like that was everything that I ever wanted to do. And so that's kind of what got me into keeping the aquariums out of the fish, which really didn't start till I was, I think, 16 or 17.
Yeah.
But man, like I love to fish, dude. Like that's my number one
It's awesome.
passion.
I love
It's-
fishing as
I
well.
love being outside and doing like some kind of activity because I guess you could call it ADD or ADHD. I just can't sit still and sit in a chair and
It's
enjoy.
good to be busy, especially doing something you love, fishing.
Oh yeah, and it was always something that like kept me very active. Like I love getting in the creeks with a net, like netting little fish. And I never kept them for any reason. Like I never
Yeah.
would set up an aquarium for them. I just always wanted to, catch, release,
Yeah.
and repeat.
So how long have you you said you didn't do it as a kid, but when did you start keeping fish?
So I want to say I started probably junior year of high school. So I'm thinking 16,
Yeah.
17 is where like I mean I had the odd beta tank or the goldfish tank, but like when I
It's something
really
easy. Yeah.
yeah, when I really started keeping fish was around that age, and it like I'm kind of one of those people that just like jumps into things, 2 feet, two
Yeah.
feet in, and it
Go all
just
in.
yeah, man, it got crazy from there,
Oh,
and now
yeah,
we're
it
here.
got crazy. For those of y'all that do not know him, he's got a 8,000 gallon,
Yeah,
right?
8,000 gallon
Eight
pond.
thousand gallon pond, and now that it's brought up, where is it? What is like? How does it? How do you run it? Like, how do you like? What's the service it needs? How do you pick what goes in it? I really want to know about this 8,000 gallon tank. I mean, it's not normal.
Yeah, so I mean it's been so it was always a dream of mine to just have something bigger than what I would see at like PetSmart, Petco, like your average tanks. Because I
Right.
really, as you all know, like the aquarium thing it's not huge here in Kentucky. Like you don't
Oh
just
yeah.
go out and see a bunch of aquariums and like restaurants all the time. Which if you go to like New York, Chicago, you might see like giant tanks like as displays or a
Huge.
big
Yeah. Yeah.
aquarium. But I always wanted something that was just like larger than
Larger than life
yeah,
almost.
larger than
Yeah.
normal. I was like, man, I wanted like something that's so cool.
Above and
And
beyond.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so I really got into the show River Monsters, especially when I was younger. I don't know, are you familiar with that show at all?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
With like Jeremy Wade. Like that was like my idol. That was like everything I wanted to be. And like obviously there's a lot of hoops with that.
Yeah.
And very expensive to travel the world and fish. But
Oh, that's the dream, though. I mean,
dude, it
dude,
would be so fun, man. I would love it.
as much as I don't get to go fishing, bro, fishing is such a good downtime. Like it's peaceful, and dude, it's a. I would equate the feeling of catching a good fish to like, not hitting the lottery, not that, but like, winning a nice pot at like gambling, or
Exactly.
like winning a big
Like a nice
basketball
prize,
game. Yeah, yeah, it's nice, bro. It's fun fishing.
Yeah, and I would actually interesting story that's kind of a side note. So back in high school, I would we would go down to Lake Cumberland here and I would fish, dude. Like I would fish from 6 o'clock after dinner to like 11 o'clock in the morning the next day. Like
Oh
like I
wow.
stay up all night, fish all night, and like that's how diehard I was.
Yeah.
Like sacrifice my sleep at the lake and just like just grind, fish all night,
Yeah.
just hang out with my buddies, and like that was some of the best memories
Yeah.
that I definitely remember from my high school time.
Let
So
me ask you this: are you a bank fisher, or you like being on a boat more?
I would feel like I'm more comfortable being on the bank just because
Yeah.
that's kind of what I grew up doing.
Same.
I've always been around boats, but I've never had like a true fishing boat. And
Yeah.
so I feel like to me that's like having your own boat and fishing is like it's a lot of work, man. You're trying to control
Yeah.
the boat. It's if you have people in there, it could be dangerous whether you're
Well,
if
having
you
a boat in general is a lot of upkeep.
oh
I
it's
mean, they're expensive.
so expensive. And they
Yeah.
say that I guess buying a boat's the best or what is it? Buying a boat's the best and worst day of your life. Like if you
Oh
sell it,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know what
yeah,
it is
yeah.
exactly, but
Yeah, they're expensive regardless. They're
so
expensive to buy. They're expensive to keep up with. But I know I'm there with you. I've always bank fished as well. It's a lot more comfortable, and I like being able to run the bank.
yeah, I
You know
love
what
I love
Yeah,
walking up and down. It's way cheaper, like you said. Like
yeah,
you can go out there and load up your truck or whatever with some poles and just have a good time. And
and it's quick too. It's like it's not like you gotta pull a boat and stuff like that.
yeah, it's kind of feel sometimes when I have a boat, like I see buddies that have a boat, I kind of think of it like a job. Like they're not the ones fishing, they're the ones manning the boat, and
Yeah.
everyone else is kind of enjoying it. So
There's a saying. I'm gonna butcher it, but there's a saying. It's like you're not supposed to buy a boat. You're supposed to find a rich friend with a boat. And use his
exactly,
boat.
that's the way to go,
Yep,
dude.
yep.
Save you a lot of money and definitely get to enjoy it more. I'm
Yeah.
sure with that.
Well, I'm sure boat owners love bringing people on the boat to you know what I'm saying? It's like I don't want to use a yacht as an example because that's like the biggest of the big, but like you can't enjoy it all yourself.
Exactly.
You
Yeah. I
know
think
what
it's
I
all
mean?
about like having your friends, your family down there,
It's a
and
good
just
time.
getting to like, cause I mean, I've grown up in the lake my whole life, and like the coolest part was bringing my buddies down
Yeah.
there and just like getting to rip around and have fun on the jet skis and whatnot. So
No, I want to get back into this 8,000 gallon tank though. What's the upkeep like? How did you build it? Where is it at? Like, is it in your basement? Like, where do you have a shop for it?
So the 8,000 gallon pond, luckily, I haven't mentioned this before, but I actually worked for my dad. So out of high school, went to work for him, and he recently purchased a few new businesses, and they had a warehouse at one that was just full of a bunch of stuff, and I kind of talked to him, and I'm like, hey, like if we help clear this out, like, do you think that maybe I could
Use
put
it.
put a space in here?
Yeah.
And he's always been like so supportive of me. My family's been like so supportive of like my dream, my goals. And they always like thought I had something like there was something bigger in store for me than just like just keeping like this like a little aquarium in our
Yeah,
house, and
exactly.
like they're
Like they saw your vision.
exactly, they're
Yeah.
like, I know that you love to make videos, I know that you love to entertain. And my dad was like, I would, if I'll give you this, I'll let you use this space. But like it's your space to manage pretty much.
Yeah.
Like,
You have to keep care of it if you're gonna use it.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Especially like a lot when you're keeping water, a lot can go wrong.
Oh, dude,
And
yeah.
so he's
Especially
like,
8,000 gallons of
oh
it.
man. Yeah. So it's actually at the warehouse. So it's a building inside of a building that we built, pretty much like a lab, you could call it. It's got like all fully insulated air conditioning, like drop down waterproof ceiling. And I kind of had this vision in my head. This is where it comes back to my granddad. And we went to his architect and actually drew everything up. It took us this is actually 2 years of doing this
Oh,
project.
wow.
So we're just kind of finalizing. And we've had some mishaps, which we can talk about later,
Yeah.
about stuff that went wrong. But there's really not a whole lot of information out there on building
An
giant.
8,000 gallon
Exactly.
tank, yeah.
Like, you see
should
the public aquariums that you go to
Yeah.
maybe, but like they're spending millions of dollars. Like it's
Yeah, well,
it's
I mean,
unbelievable.
like you said, a lot can go wrong. There's so much to it. It's not just simple. It's you have to build them. It's not like you can just go buy a whole structure and like you should have called those guys that the two bald guys.
The tank. Yeah, so crazy story. I actually went to this thing called Animal Con, which was a it was like an influencer thing where, fans could come and meet you, and like we had like panels and talks, and I actually got to meet Brett there.
Oh,
One of the,
really?
yeah, and so me and him actually connected. His first ever aquarium that he ever did was actually here in Lexington, Kentucky.
No way.
Yeah, so when I told him I was from Kentucky, me and him kind of connected on that. We exchanged phone numbers, and he actually owns a restaurant in Las Vegas now. And they don't do the aquarium stuff as much anymore. I think they
Yeah.
had some kind of split up or divide. But yeah, it was really cool, like to have that connection with him. And that was
I mean,
another show I watched as a
Yeah,
kid.
I'm sure he's a legend in the aquarium space.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, of course,
Yeah, like those tanks you all see built on that thing are like, I would think, I was like, oh, there might be like, 50,000 might be the price of a car. Like we're talking like
prices of a
millions.
house.
Yeah, like he was telling me this one church built this tank that was like, I mean, like, I don't know if I want to say it was like over $1 million for their
Yeah.
like church entry. And we're just talking about like an entry tank, I mean, there's huge tanks. The glass is and the acrylic is so thick, like it's like millions of dollars. It's pretty crazy.
Did you see I can't remember where it was, but you're probably pretty familiar with it. Did you see there was a tank that was like surrounding it was like a big circle. It was one of the biggest tanks in I believe Europe. And it was like it was pretty much like in a mall. It was enormous and it broke.
Is it what? So it was the one that busted.
And it was like in a circular shape. That's
yeah. So I'm trying to think. I think was it like in a hotel?
yeah, a hotel
Some
or
kind
a
of weird
mall
space,
or,
like
yeah,
a
yeah,
big
yeah.
vaulted space.
Yeah.
So we do like some other social media stuff
Yeah.
where we're kind of in tune with like what goes on, and I saw that and I'm like, it almost gave me like PTSD with some of the stuff that's happened with me in the past.
Yeah. Well, we can go ahead and get into it. What would have been some of the mishaps with your tank?
So there has been so many, man. Like it almost made me want to quit what I was doing as hard as that was, just because I'm like, is there ever gonna be like a light at the end of the tunnel with this?
Yeah.
Which sounds dumb because it's just a fish tank, but like we spent a ton of time, money, effort, and I know you asked about the care for the tanks. So
Yeah.
I was there pretty much full time taking care of stuff after work, which my work schedule is pretty crazy too. So it was hard for me. So I actually had a buddy
Double
here.
booked.
I had a buddy here, and he actually helped me take care of everything as well. And he was a lifesaver a lot of times. But we did have a
Yeah.
lot of issues, man. And it was honestly more bad than good in the beginning. Now it's kind of turning around. But
Yeah. I saw one of the videos you posted on YouTube. Did something leak and all your fish died?
yeah, so we have cameras set up in my whole place. Like I wanted to make sure that I could always be anywhere, whether I was in Florida on vacation,
just
whether pull up the phone, ring
make sure it's
cameras,
good.
like you
Yeah,
can
exactly.
pretty much pull up anything. And so we built these ponds, and we had a few guys come and do it the first time that I guess promised the world, but didn't have as much experience
As they said.
maybe they said.
Yeah.
And so we kind of paid them their money, and they got out of town, right? Like they lived somewhere else. They were like, "You're all good to go, buddy."
Yeah.
And so I was like, awesome. And so I guess the work that they had did wasn't fully cured. Like they didn't mix stuff
It wasn't,
properly.
yeah, it wasn't set.
Yeah, and so we built this plywood pond, which is basically like all wood, and then you epoxy it. And it's kind of a common thing, I guess, for DIY fish keepers, which
Yeah.
is just like to save money instead of building like $1 million tank.
Yeah, $1
you
million
do this.
tank. Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's so expensive.
Yeah, it's crazy expensive. So I'm like, man, this is a great idea. A few of my buddies have done it. And so they built it. Like I filled the tank with water, leaks. So we kept paying to get it repaired by other people.
What was that water bill like?
Oh my gosh, man. I mean, the damage that water can do is just like,
Yeah.
I don't know if have you ever had like a leak in your
No,
house
what was the water
before?
bill just filling it up? Like
So I
did you have to
calculated it.
have
I want to say I don't know if I calculated this correctly because it doesn't seem right, but every time I filled the tank up and drained it down was about $50. Like at the time for what I had was about sorry. So there reached 3,500 gallons at one. There were two separate tanks in me, so I want to say it was about $100 for both the tanks. Which water's obviously changed with COVID and all that stuff. Everything's gone way up. But yeah, so we do water changes for the fish, obviously to keep them healthy every week. So that water bill was like kind of high already.
Yeah.
And then when we just kept like leaking and leaking, I mean, it was getting
going wrong.
Like we're talking like easy couple $100 a month. Some months more, unfortunately.
What's
but
the upkeep for the animals themselves?
it's every day.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there's really I have a lot of stuff that I haven't even shown actually on Instagram that I've just been kind of, keeping
in
secret.
the vault. Yeah.
But like it's every day, man. Like the moment you take, I guess if you take a day off, a lot of times I say you get 2 days behind. So then you're, and like with work, obviously I still go to work and it really puts you in a bad spot if I take a day off. So like I try every day to dedicate at least an hour of my time to my animals at home because the pond doesn't even have fish in it yet. So I don't have to really take care of that. It kind of does its course. But once I have that, man, like I'll either have to hire somebody to help me just while I'm at work, which kind of sounds stupid. Like I basically work to pay for my hobby.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but
we can kind of segue into your social medias and stuff with that. You plan to obviously like use it to make money and use it to, promote your stuff and your brand, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I've done that since day one. I've had some opportunities that I never even could imagine. Like when I did this stuff in the beginning, it was 1,000% like just for fun. And I love just like sharing.
Let's start at the beginning though. So how you started was you said junior year, you started it was like a page where they just reposted clips, right?
Exactly. So I didn't have any fish at the time, man. Like I don't know what. I was on vacation and I was bored and I was like, I just want to try to make an Instagram account. Like I didn't have any social media background before other than like a personal account. And I'm like, it'd be cool to have an account like where I can just share what I love with people. And it was actually a secret for a very long time. Nobody knew about it because I didn't want to like, I guess, get roasted. And then people think I always thought for the longest time that people would think that my love for animals was weird.
Why?
So I just thought that maybe people thought like I would come across as like
a tree hugger kind of.
Yeah, like maybe like kind of nerdy, which nothing wrong with that, but I didn't want to be perceived as like
that's your whole persona is animals.
Yeah, like I want to be known for like, just being like Chase, like a guy that just likes to hang out and
a cool guy that just likes animals.
Exactly. I never wanted to be like I didn't want anyone to know the extreme of how much I really liked.
Well, now his name is FishKing, so
I know. I think a lot of things have changed over the last few years. And
but so you started with this page.
Yeah, so I started with this page, and for 6 months, I probably had 200 followers. And I just kept pushing. Like I didn't have any experience. Like I said, I didn't have anybody like that was pushing me, or I just kept going. And I had one video actually that it got like 10,000 views. And at the time I was like, this is crazy. Like I wasn't making no money at all. I was like, this is crazy. Like, how did I get 10,000 views on this video I posted?
And you said this was like 4 years ago, right?
So I'm 21 now. So we're talking about 4 or 5 years ago.
So 5 years ago, that's before like the Reels era. So 10,000 views is actually like at the time was probably like, holy shit. Like
I was freaking out,
10,000 views
dude.
now is good. So like, you know what I mean? And we have Reels and we have all the accessibility now. So back then it's even a little more crazy.
Dude, I've never shared this with anybody before other than my family, but like I legit came home from school and I was like I was considering buying like fireworks and like going off and like having a fireworks show like with my family. Like, this is so awesome, guys. Like I made it. I got 10,000 views on this video. Like I was going to get a cake. Like I was freaking out. Like I was like dapping up my girlfriend who knew at the time. I'm like, we made it. Like we got 10,000 views. We got that K next to it.
And dude, I bet it just gave you a hunger to like,
oh
I gotta
man.
keep going.
So I had that happen. Right. And then I had a good friend of mine who actually was like someone that I looked up to in the space that I'd never connected with. I DM'd him and I'm like, hey man, like I really enjoy this stuff. His account at the time had like 200,000 followers and I didn't think I would get a reply. And like his name is Jake. Yeah. And Jake responded to me and he's like, hey bro, like give me a call. And so I gave him a call and one of the nicest guys, he's from Texas. And so I conversed with him, and he's like I really see like your eye for stuff. Like you have a good eye for content, because as a lot of people don't know, is like it's not as easy as just like taking videos, and like there's actually like a little bit of like, you got to know what does well, know how to put it out
Oh
there.
yeah.
And I didn't have any of that at the time, and I'm still working on it today. But Jake was like, I really see something in you, bro. Like I want to, almost like a mentor to me,
almost like help you kickstart your own
push me,
thing.
yeah, like saying like, you got this, dude. Like I believe in you. Like I want you to try this. Like I want you to post, these certain days, and I just want you to see how it goes.
Yeah.
So like from then on, bro, like a month later, I hit a video that hit like 70,000 views, right? And I'm like,
you're like,
I'm almost like past.
Now
I'm
I need
like,
to get a car.
But like I'm taking like the day off school. I'm like, bro, like I had 70K views, and at the time, still nobody knew about this. Like, this is still about 10 months in, and then within the like about a year mark, I hit 10,000 followers, and that was like that was like such a surreal moment. Not that the followers matter, but to me,
and well, it's not that the followers matter, but it's like one thing I would like kind of say it is it's you're creating something and people are finally like gaining traction. So it's like a good feeling to know that people are enjoying your content.
Yeah, it was like a validation that like my work was paying off for what I was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then from there, man, like, I mean, so much stuff has happened since then with the account, and really it has the same name since I started. But I think we just hit 500,000 followers last week,
and that's not even your FishKing channel. Or like
this is just a second account. And a lot of people don't even know I have this. Like it's just kind of a hidden gem. And I told buddies now kind of know that I do it just because it's hard to hide at this point. And I'm like, so what,
Yeah.
But I just like we're set to hit. We're growing about. So in the last few months, we've grown about 50 to 100,000 followers a month. So it was at 200,000 for a while, and I kind of took a break because work life was so busy. But like we've been really grinding for the last 6 months, and now we're where we are. So it's been a long journey.
Do you kind of want to explain how you want to build your agency, how you kind of want to tie that in with your own stuff?
Yeah. So I actually have a buddy of mine, Nate, who is my business partner more recently with things. And he got his account taken away for just some other stuff. And me and him had always been buddies before. He lived in New York. And so me and him were buddies. And I saw his account got taken away. We were heartbroken, dude. We're trying to get it back with everything. And
so unfortunate.
Yeah, it was one of those freak things. And we couldn't get it back. And so I'm like, hey, bro, like, why don't we work together? He had so much potential. Like, I knew like the stuff he had done. Like, me and him were kind of like always kind of chasing each other. Like, it was friendly competition.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, he would hit 100K. And I'm like, well, I'm going to hit 100K. I'd hit like 120K. He would hit like 150K.
Yeah.
And so it was always just a fun time. And like, he was on the same mindset as me. He's about the same age as me. And I really could trust him. And so I brought him on to Monster Aquatic Fish. So me and him run that together now. We're I guess I'm the owner of it, but me and him are split profits of all that. And like he 100% deserves it, dude. He's like the biggest grinder and has really taken our stuff to the next level. But you asked about the media agency. Me and him actually recently started running other people's accounts for them. I had a few other influencers reach out to me that saw what I did with my account. They were like, could you do this with my Instagram? Because I'm too busy. So we took on, account here, then we took on another account, and it's
kind of just become a business now.
Yeah, and me and him work really well together, two different perspectives from two different places.
Exactly.
And it's been really cool. And a lot of stuff is going to change with social media in the next couple of years, but we're trying to always stay one step ahead of things. So.
Yeah, of course you got to. Let me ask you this. How did you get into the knowledge of like what to post, what's the right time to post, what like all the details in it? Because if you've only been doing it for 4 or 5 years, how did you like, you know what I mean? Is it just through trial and error? Is it through where you watch the videos all the time? Like, how did you?
Yeah. So the main thing which is like, that's so important, man. Like that's 100%. Like we're super technical now. We actually have about 5 guys that work under me and Nate that are like, study analytics. They'll help us post. They'll do all that kind of stuff. Like it is super competitive as far as like knowing, what to do, when to do it, what's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like they might think it's just luck, which it's really not. It's about consistency and posting. But the main thing that I think that helped me and Nate separate ourselves from a lot of other people is like we would study other people's content. I heard Mr. Beast say it, like that is one of the biggest things that helped him grow. I know Mr. Beast is like huge. It will never be nothing like that. It's so funny.
I was literally about to use an example because you said something that made me think of Mr. Beast as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen what he's done, and like, dude, if I could just have 1/1000th of whatever or 1/1,000,000th of whatever he's done, like, I mean, that's pretty insane. So we would study content for like the last 3 years. That was one thing that Jake helped me with too. He's like, bro, you got to be studying content, like
Yeah.
see what other people are doing, see the trends, stay up on them. And so me and Nate like really took that to heart, and like it's been such a big part of our lives. Like that's half the battle, is knowing good content to post, and just keeping things fresh for people. So
What really drew you? Well, I know you have a love for animals and stuff, but what really drew you to fish specifically in the sense of separating from your other channel? You know what I mean? Like starting your own channel, calling yourself FishKing. How did that really come about? Because now it seems like you have the ability to really go wild. Like the possibilities when it comes to fish and like making content are endless. You
yeah,
could turn it into like your own I already forgot the name of the show you used as a reference.
tanked.
No.
Oh, River Monsters.
River Monsters. You can start your own show now. Like you have the ability. What really started that to where you know what I'm saying? What made you separate from your repost channel?
Yeah, so at the time, back in the beginning, like not the very beginning, but about a year when I started keeping fish, because by watching the videos, I was like, man, I kind of got sold on them. Like I'm really
Yeah.
interested in this as well, to own these fish, because I didn't even know it was a possibility here in Kentucky. I didn't know you could own these fish.
Yeah.
And because 99.9% of my fish actually get flown in from other states, other
Oh.
countries, and so it's not like I'm sourcing them here. Like they're coming from Africa, Taiwan, Thailand, and so there's a lot of like stuff that goes into that.
Yeah, of course.
But sorry, I kind of blanked on your question. What were you asking again?
No, I asked how did you go from having the repost channel and wanting to like turn it into fish content, FishKing, wanting to really expand that in that area?
Yeah, so I just lost my train of thought.
No,
But
it's good, it's good.
yeah, so in the beginning it was combined, and then I didn't really like the reaction I got from that. I think a lot of people were kind of confused.
Oh, so you're posting fish content and reposting other stuff?
I was posting like some of my stuff, like
Yeah.
fish I was trying to sell, which I don't sell fish anymore. But at the time, I was trying to just hustle, and I thought that was the right thing to do. But I was like mixing stuff, and it just didn't really look very professional. And so I'm all about like kind of a clean look. I wanted people to understand like what was going on, and so I created my other account, which was called Monster FishKing, and I recently just bought the name FishKing because
You had to buy it from somebody?
yeah, I had to buy it.
How'd that go? Because we wanted to buy, so on Instagram, we're Area 51 and Co. There's some guy with 0 followers that has Area 51 podcast.
I hear that so often.
Dude,
and
it sucks.
I hit the lottery, I guess, because I found this guy. It took me about a year. I messaged, like I went to him, I messaged him, didn't hear anything back. He's probably in his 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
And just a small account, 200 followers. And most of them aren't active, as you all know. Like most of those accounts don't even have any posts or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But I messaged him and didn't hear anything back. So I went through, it's going to sound a little bit crazy and narcissistic. I went through all of his followers and I literally messaged like 50 of them. And I was like, hey, do you know, his name was Steve. I was like, do you know Steve? I'm really trying to buy his name for my brand. Like, I'm just trying to, grow things. And finally got one back. It took like a month, got one back, and he kept messaging Steve. And then finally I connected with Steve, and me and Steve got a phone call.
Yeah.
And I was like, how much do you want, man? Like, that's the big question. And he's like, my wife told me I should probably ask for like $10,000 to $12,000, especially with being a company. And I like at that moment my heart kind of sank, right? Because I'm like,
how much,
dude? Like 10 to 12,000. I'm like, bro, like I'm not like Coca-Cola coming in here and buying this, man. Like I'm just like I'm a 20-year-old.
Instagram.
Like, yeah, like I'm like, man, I'm a 21-year-old.
Did
like,
you have to like explain that? You were like,
yeah, he was super cool. Like he actually reminded. I guess he was a dad. Like I think he had more perspective after he talked to me on the phone and like realized that like, I wasn't like
you're
some
trying
big
to start something.
I wasn't some big corporation, And so he was like, yeah, my wife said that, and I'm like, like honestly, the name, like it would be cool to have, but it's not that important to me. Like I'll shoot you an offer, but I don't know like where you stand with it. So I shot him. I think I said $150.
Yeah,
and he was like, deal. So I was like, all right, dude.
In reality, though, that dad is gonna take the $150, bro. It's like he doesn't probably even use it. He doesn't care about it. What, like,
He was just like an OG on the platform, I guess. And he just made the name FishKing, and I don't even think he had any involvement with really fish. So he just. Yeah,
you did get lucky.
I got so lucky, bro.
A lot of people
so lucky.
never answer back.
Never answer.
Or they're not even like even activated. Like not only active, but like they don't even have the app anymore.
That's the worst. And like you can't do anything. Like I don't know if there's any way you can get it.
I think the only way that you can do it after you like get so big with something else, if you were to like go directly to Instagram.
Like call like Mark Zuckerberg, like, hey bro, can you help me get this?
Pretty much.
I think that's probably the
much,
only way. And yeah, unfortunately I don't have any connects with Instagram, but it worked out for me
Yeah.
with that guy. But I mean, like that's probably 1 in every 1,000 people that try, I'm sure probably are successful.
Yeah, it's
for that price too, you know. $10,000 I about threw up. I'm like, there's no way, dude.
Dude, I love how you said, yeah, I'm not Coca-Cola coming through here.
Yeah, but like I can't. I mean, it's not like I'm making like billions of dollars and whatever.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I mean, even if it was 500, I don't.
Dude,
I don't
he
think
thought
I
he was about to get a check though. He thought he was like,
what if I was like, yeah, for sure. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. He probably, like you said, he probably talked to his wife and she was like, oh, if it's a business, ask for run their pockets.
Yeah,
like,
he probably thought he
up.
found like a big come up. He's like, man, we won the lottery. Like, this is awesome. But he's actually really nice. And he reached out to me after. Because it takes a couple weeks to change your name, like they gotta let it like process or whatever. And he's like, "Hey man, like I saw you got the name like I don't know if he's like congratulations or whatever, but he's like pretty much like happy for you, you know, happy it worked out." So that was a cool experience.
So I want to ask you some stuff about your YouTube now. Is your YouTube content a little bit different than the stuff you post on Instagram?
Yeah, so I'm super familiar with the short form content, obviously, from running the Monster Aquatic Fish page, which was my repost, which really helped me with my FishKing page because I understood I understood a lot of the stuff. I understood thumbnails, all that kind of stuff. But then when I got to YouTube, man, like I hope nobody goes back and watches my first YouTube videos. Even the ones now aren't like great, but they definitely got a lot better. The first ones were like, I mean, if I watch, I would probably puke right now if I watched one.
Dude, the way I look at it is I just think they're so legendary. Because like our first ones are nothing like it is now. But it's just so cool to watch because it's like a moment in history.
It's like a growth, you know? Like you can see where you came from, and it's so cool because it's documented, and it'll I mean, I'm sure your all's first episodes are probably out there.
Yeah.
You can like go back and watch it and be like, I can't believe like I said this, or I can't believe I thought that this was good.
Well, yeah, exactly. In a few years, you'll be able to go back and be like, or even more personal, you'll be able to go back and be like, oh, this is the type of mindset I was in at the time or something like that. That's what I think is really cool about seeing your old content. Like I said, I just think it's legendary.
For sure.
It's a little cringy, but it's just more legendary.
Yeah, and I know that you all are talking about like how you all kind of, it was like, I guess the start was that you and your buddies, right? You were all kind of sitting down, just shooting the stuff.
Yeah, we really just started just it was fun. It was a little less serious, and we were just learning, man. We were learning how to make it work, and learning how to talk in front of a camera and figuring it out. And then through time and experience, shit just happens.
Yeah, like imagine going back, and showing your kids in 10, 20 years, like, hey, like this is what me and my buddies were doing back then, and like those conversations, just pretty cool, like because our parents didn't really have it's that kind of accessibility to that stuff. So
times are so different. And
more cassette tapes.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's something I'd love to do when I'm older. There's I saw this picture one time, and it's this guy. He takes a bunch of videos of his child, and like just memories. Like takes videos with his children and family events and stuff like that. And what he'll do is he'll post them on YouTube, on private. And then eventually, whenever the kid is older or whatever, that he's going to give that child the private account with so many years worth of.
So insane.
Yeah, but it's so cool because it's documented.
Yeah, like they'll be able to watch themselves grow up, and I'd be so cool to have that, dude.
Exactly. But now, I mean, dude, back in the dude, I think we were right in a weird era where it was like a transition, because my brother's 10 years older than me, and I've probably said something similar to this before, but there's like a bunch of like printed out pictures of him, right? For me, there's nothing. There is some, but there's like, it's not comparable because cell phones started coming out when, I was a child or when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I feel like it was a weird transition area where you couldn't, like, nobody has those old flip phones that you took pictures on.
Super weird. Like I remember my dad like coming home, and I was probably in preschool, and like he had like a big old like brick flip phone, and I'm like at the time, like that was cool. Like, like that was like the
technology,
stuff.
Dude.
Yeah. And I remember coming home I was actually at my kindergarten graduation, and my granddad had brought the first iPhone there, like to my graduation
the
party.
Big black brick.
Yeah. And like everyone there was like, I mean, like forget the graduation, dude.
Yeah.
Like that was like mind blowing. Like apps and like games on your phone was like, or like not like the games, like the old games, but they were like, this was like the craziest thing ever.
I don't know. I obviously wasn't like thinking about it at the time when it happened, but the first release of the iPhone, I was watching a video, like, just clips that pop up, but I was watching a clip of like the release of the first iPhone, and it was like, it's literally history. Like it's such a monumental time in technology. Like the first release of a smartphone, it's kind of weird to think about because
Crazy.
now it's like if you don't have a smartphone, you're kind of like behind times.
For sure. And like if you even like look around, I mean, people are always on their phone now. Like my screen time is mine's crazy, bro. Like I don't know. I almost need to look and see.
That's kind of our job, though.
Yeah, like exactly. Like everyone's like, you know, you need to be off your phone more. I'm like, unfortunately, and fortunately for me, like I can work anywhere on my phone, but it can be addicting because I can always do more work, even if I'm in my room, if I'm waking up in the middle of the night. Like I can always get on my phone and do more work.
Exactly,
which is a blessing and also not good sometimes for my mental health. But I don't know what I would do without it.
Moderation and everything.
Like you look around driving now, and I feel like I see people like driving like this all the time. Like not even like the road's just like there. You know, the phone's like right here.
Sometimes, man, you got to answer a call or something. I try not to, but sometimes.
Yeah, it happens, man. And like, luckily, well, yeah. I'm not gonna jinx anything, I'm not gonna jinx anything. You know what I mean? But
no, but we'll talk more about your YouTube. So, how long have you been doing YouTube? Because YouTube is not the same as Instagram for you. You started on Instagram. That's kind of different than what normally people do. They normally start on like YouTube and then they kind of transition to, you know, making short form content. So it was a little different for you. How was your start on YouTube and like where do you want to go with it? Because it's different. Like I said, it's different than the content you post on Instagram.
Very different. Yeah, I mean, I think that I wish I was able to start long form content first and then transition to short form because I think there's such a value to being able to talk on a camera, being able to explain things, you know, being able to articulate a story, and which I didn't have any of that at the time, and I still don't have that, which sucks. Yeah. But you know, it's a skill that I'm working on, dude.
It's a good step.
Yeah, I love talking. I'm not the best talker by any means. I stutter. And that's why YouTube was really hard for me because I am a perfectionist. I didn't want to put anything out there that wasn't perfect. And also, I was always worried about what not people out in the world, but I was always worried about like what my inner kind of circle of like friends would say about me because I didn't want them to I wanted them to respect me. I didn't want them to.
Well, I think in a way you kind of have to earn it though. I think it's like, cause there's so many people starting different things and that's how it's been. I mean, even before the internet in different ways, you know what I mean? But there's everybody's always starting something. There's a lot of people that talk without doing. So like you kind of have to earn that respect in your group. Even if they are supportive, you still have to earn that respect. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because there's a moment where it's like, okay, I actually do this now. It's not just like a startup. It's not just something you've been doing for 6 months. Now you've been doing it for 5 years.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So you have to earn that respect. And I think that's a big part of it, especially in your
And I was getting so caught up in the followers because, you know, I want to put it this way. I guess it's a lot easier to like, if say you have millions of followers, it's a lot easier to post a video. And even if it's not that good of a video, people are going to be like, oh, well, he's got millions of followers. Well, he must be good at what he does. You know, he must be. But like, I literally started at, when I started posting on my channel, I had about 100 subscribers. And yeah, like I honestly thought my first video would do better, not because of my subscriber account, but because of like just kind of a little bit of the influence out of Instagram, which is a drop in the bucket to most things. But I was like, you know, I'm going to like a lot of converssion. Like this might get a couple thousand
Conversion's
views.
hard.
Very hard. And I actually just had a meeting about this before. Like everything nowadays is like there's almost everybody in the social media space that's an influencer is selling a product or selling another link to something. And so it's very hard to get people to click on your link no matter what you do.
Well, you have to make money. I mean, for people that do work on the internet, you know what I'm saying? You have to, at some point, you're not just doing it. You want to keep the fun in it for yourself, but you have to make money if you're going to do something for like more than 5 to 10 years.
Exactly.
Like
it's for the longevity.
Yeah. At some point you have to like kind of look at it and be like, okay, you might know this guy. What's the Kevin O'Leary, I think is his name.
Shark Tank?
Yeah, he always said there's this I always butcher the quotes, man, but it's like it's something like after 5 years, man, take it behind the shed and shoot it, because if you're not making money, it's like, I'm not saying give up on anything, but at what point is it good to switch? You know what I mean? Like maybe transition.
Focus your energy towards something else.
Maybe transit or maybe even just change up what you're doing then. Like you know, you just don't want to spend too much time on something and waste your own time. That's
100%.
Kind of
that's always my fear. And like with YouTube, it was so hard because I was spending a good chunk of money on my videos, like because I was trying to keep them interesting. And now it's so competitive where like if you're not either like a super like like a Jake Paul guy who's like super entertaining
Yeah.
or have like some kind of special skill, like you're really gonna have to put a lot into your videos. Like you see guys giving away thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
buying cars
It's
for
very
people.
competitive,
Very
yeah.
competitive. Like why wouldn't someone go watch a video of someone giving away $1 million, but they can go watch my video where I go buy, like a little goldfish. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I got to try to find something that's different, which I've been working on really hard.
Well, I mean, I think one thing that's cool about your content as well, you can learn how to there with your content. I feel like it'd be really, really cool if you could add a lot of like real life aspects with fish. So for instance, like your video idea that you told me about, if you're cool with talking about it, the fish where you take the fish. It's like I said, you're adding real life situation and scenario into your content with the fish.
Yeah. Yeah. So me and him were talking about this before, but I don't know the logistics of the entire video yet, but I'm actually going to Florida here in the next month. And so I'm either going to go there and buy a fish and fly back in the same day, or I might stay a week. I might bring one of my beta fish because sometimes I don't have people to watch my stuff, man.
So you're
which
gonna
is
try to like sneak it. It's gonna be like
so. I didn't know you could do this until very recently. You can actually make it through airport security with a pet fish if it's in a clear bag and doesn't have any. I guess if the fish is living, because it doesn't have any whatever in
chemicals.
it. Yeah, no
stuff,
chemicals. No, you're not trying to hide like drugs or whatever.
Bear on cocaine. Why not a fish on cocaine?
Exactly.
You know
Like
what
you'd be
I mean?
swimming around crazy in the tank. You'd be like
Yeah.
going wild. But the only thing is you have to clear it with the airline. So most airlines are cool with it, but you can legit sit in your seat on the plane,
Just
hold your fish, and be like,
dude, that would be the best picture ever. Like if you just had like a little tank,
oh man.
like a bowl, like the goldfish bowl, and just on the plane. Like that.
Just, like,
that'd
chilling?
be that'd be. Such
And
a good
most people
picture.
like, I get some, not a ton of backlash, but obviously like as your followers grow, you'll get more backlash from people. Like I get people saying like, you're just doing this for views. You're just doing this for money. Like a lot of this stuff is really like my real life. Like before I did YouTube and Instagram, I would do like crazy stuff that not would endanger the stuff I had, but like I would drive 10 hours in one day and drive back and pick up pick up some kind of animal, whether it was something rare or like I would fly somewhere just to buy an animal and come home. Like I always did this without the cameras off. So now I just have the cameras on documenting what I would do normally.
Right. And it's crazy how people still hate on it. I guess you definitely have a group of people though on the internet that anything with animals, they're like,
yeah, it's,
you know what I mean?
I've had
it's definitely
talks
weird.
like definitely like over Thanksgiving dinner. Cause my I guess my close family they're pretty interested in what I do just because, everyone can kind of understand animals. Like it's very,
It's
kind
very
of
family
it's a
friendly.
likable topic. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, a lot of people have dogs and whatever. So when they see like what I do, they're like, they've seen me do it my whole life, but now they're kind of seeing come full circle. Sorry.
Oh, that's not good.
And so they'll ask me questions. They're like, how do you handle like these messages? Cause I've got like death threats. I've got people
Really?
like threaten different stuff, like to do this and that. And it was kind of hard to hear because I'm like, I was not used to that. And now I've been able to have advice from people that have way more followers than I do, have way more followers than I'll ever do. And they're
Like how
just
to
like,
handle it.
they're like, man, like you can't even look at that because these people are probably like in their basement in their underwear typing like, I'm going to come do this to you. And like,
Well, dude, there's PETA gremlins everywhere. You know what
bro,
I mean?
the animal world is so crazy because the problem is, I know there's some other categories. I know that people have mentioned like boxing as one, for example. Like everyone at home thinks they're an expert on them. And the first thing that I want to clear up with anybody, like I'm going to just start doing this in my videos more. I am 100% not an expert on animals by any means. Like I don't know the most about fish. I don't know the most about, like, there's very few people that are like an expert on a topic. I feel like, that know everything, that like, I feel like I can always learn something from the next guy next to me,
Yeah, exactly.
And so I never want to be.
Also, fish is so, dude, we're still discovering fish. You know what I mean? Fish
I mean, it's
science is
just like,
not, it's evolving still.
Yeah. And it's not just like, I mean, they've been around for a very long time, but like aquariums,
how to take care of them, keep them alive, how to breed them.
Exactly.
Like
it's
that,
always improving. And, I get comments from people that I would say a lot of them probably don't even have a fish tank that like are the loudest ones in the room. And I'm like, if I took your advice on everything, like,
Like
I
you
don't know where
said,
I would be.
they're probably in the basement in their underwear.
Yeah, just
They're
like
PETA
chopping it up.
gremlins. Yeah, exactly.
But it's been at first it got to me, and then now I try to ignore it. But I
Yeah.
have like I get so much love, especially from local people. Like that makes my day. Like when I get
Yeah.
like when you all reached out,
Dude,
or
he actually is the one that told me about you, and I saw your page, and I was like, dude, this is so awesome. There's a guy that does, because I'm a big fan of actually reptiles. I love reptiles. I have,
dude, I love reptiles. I need to talk. Well, in a minute we'll talk about something else, but
yeah.
like I want to hear what. Oh yeah, I want to hear like your. I guess.
Well, no, I was just saying I'm a big fan of reptiles. So when I saw that there was somebody here that like was an influencer that also liked animals and stuff, I was like, oh, that's so cool. We got to bring him on. So
dude,
and now we're here.
I like. Unfortunately, FishKing is my name,
Yeah.
but I love like all animals, dude. Like I love reptiles. I like snakes, lizards. I have a mammal right now that's like pretty insane that I don't. There's probably the only one in Kentucky that I can know of. But like I cannot wait to show. Like it's like my best friend. Like I love all animals, not just fish, and I really want to focus at the new warehouse because we're gonna have like some space so that people can come in and see. Like I want to really focus on having it like geared towards kids, where like kids can come in there and like hold tree frogs and like hold a giant 4-foot lizard. Like I want.
Well, that's awesome that you want to do that, because we don't have something like that here. There's like for instance, somebody that does it amazing, Jay Prehistoric Pets in California. Like
super nice guy,
dude. I mean, it's like they have a complete zoo, and you can like pet the fucking 18-foot snake. Like that's
so cool.
That's ridiculous, and we have nothing like that here. So if you could be somebody that brings that here, that'd be awesome. So many people would love that.
Yeah, and like how cool is that? Like for that's such a I feel like that's just such a memorable thing, thing for a kid too, or even adult. Like if you all have never seen, I've been lucky to see a couple snakes that are like you said, like 18 foot, and like that's something you will not forget. Like a huge snake, it's like, I mean, that's not like you can go see a movie or whatever, and pay your money, but if you go spend $25 and visited like Jay's place, if you're there, I guarantee you would have more fun there than you would at a movie theater or like going out to lunch.
He's such a cool guy. He's got a good personality.
He's
perfect for his job.
Dude, he is so like he's so positive, and I've only exchanged a couple DMs with him.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to, I guess, have more of a conversation with him, but like just so like uplifting, and like you can really see like how much he loves what he does. And unfortunately, like we said, the animal guys, they can get a bad rap because there can be a lot of money involved with like, the social media stuff. But I try to tell people too, like everything that I make currently goes out to pay people to help me, to help feed my animals, like to help better everything. Cause it's not cheap. Like there's nothing cheap about keeping a pet. I'm sure a lot of you all probably have dogs and cats, like, like there's unexpected vet bills, the food, like it really does add up. And it's not just the initial cost of the animal. It's really the care that gets so expensive.
I want to ask you, we've kind of hinted on it, but I want to ask you some more about some of your animals that you actually have.
Yeah.
So one of the ones that caught my eye, dude, was this, I don't think it was albino, but it was like a pale sword shark. Not shark.
Yeah. So you're talking about the platinum paddlefish. It looks like a swordfish, dude.
Yes.
Pretty crazy. Yeah, like that is another
super, super rare, right?
Oh, super rare. And the thing is, not only is it rare, but at the size that it was at, it is like so rare. Like it is unbelievably rare at that size. It was, I think, 4 years old. And that was one of the fish that I did lose in the leak, which was gut wrenching.
Really?
And it's not even like the money. It's not even, it never was the money. Like those fish were all they're
friends.
They're like, they would come up to the tank, and like, these aren't like not your average fish, but like I have stingrays that would come over the side of my tank and like come greet me when I came in there. Yeah, dude, it was crazy.
Look, so you're familiar with reptiles, right? I always tell this to people: reptiles don't have feelings, so it's hard as a human. Like I love my animal, but my animal doesn't give a fuck about me.
Yeah,
like my reptile.
Yeah,
actually, fun fact, and I was kind of I made a tweet about this. I was actually hurt.
Sure.
My lizard, I've had him for over a year, and he bit me for the first time recently.
What type of lizard do you have?
A crested gecko. It's not crazy.
Yeah, dude. I have one in my house. I love them. They're super. Like they're very. I think they're like one of the best first.
Oh well,
lizards you can buy.
I love them is because they're they're active. They jump. They move.
They're super
They're not
cool.
like bearded dragons are cool, but they kind of just like are fat and they just
Fat and lazy. Yeah, the
chill.
crest is
Yeah,
like they'll climb all over the tank and
they'll
like,
jump on like I'll hold him like this and he'll like jump on my head and stuff. It's cool.
dude,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I didn't even know you had that. I didn't know that. Like, I guess that you're into
No, that's
reptiles
what I
as
was
much.
saying. Like I mean, I had so recently I had 2 snakes, but my mom snaked me and sold them behind my back.
No way,
Yeah,
bro.
I was keeping them at her house, and it was kind of like I was like, yeah, I'll take them whenever I can, and it was like she ended up just selling
Dragging
them.
out.
Yeah, but it's all right. But I have my crested gecko. I'll tell you a little unfortunate story that I have.
Oh
So
man.
so one day I was at work or I was doing something, and you know I come home and my girlfriend is she's hysterical. And dude, my cat had killed one of my lizards.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
dude.
did it just get it? Cats are like,
Cats are
they're
mean.
crazy, man.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
not a
mean.
huge cat guy. I never had a pet cat. My mom's allergic, so I've just never had an opportunity. But like, that's like kind of one animal that like I don't really like mess with, dude. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna let it do its thing. Like it's like the boss, it can walk around, but you
Yeah,
got your
dude.
lizard, bro.
Dude, he broke in the cage and mauled my lizard.
Oh, was it crested?
Yeah, it was another crested, and it was unfortunate, even more unfortunate, because that was my older one.
Man.
So like I had or he was bigger, and like if you know cresteds, it kind of takes just a little bit for them to like actually get big and like
Yeah.
chunky. You know what I mean? So like I was like, damn,
that dang cat, man.
and it was really weird. I had never seen a crested gecko's tail come off until then, and it looks so weird.
yeah, it just
Like
looks.
it looks like a I don't even know how to explain it. It looks like the inside of a live fish, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's
It-
like
it
I
looks
guess.
weird.
Well, a lot of people, I guess, they don't love to handle them because they said I guess they can technically drop their tails if they're
Yeah.
stressed. But I'm sure like with a cat situation, that's like a little bit different than you
Yeah.
holding it. You
Dude,
know,
I mean, like I said, he mauled him. Unfortunately,
got him.
He got him. He got him, and probably even though he was probably just playing with him, yeah, it got him. But enough about my crested geckos. Let's talk some more about your animals and what you own and what you want to own.
Yeah, so like that paddlefish was like one of the coolest things I've owned. I would say it was probably worth about at least $10,000 to the right buyer. Not what I paid for it, but like it
Yeah.
was just really rare, and like I wasn't gonna sell it. Like even if
Yeah.
someone came and offered me whatever, I mean, I was like, this thing is too cool. I'm not gonna have another chance.
Yeah.
But probably the number one coolest thing I own is I actually have a 2-headed turtle.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty crazy. It blows my mind every single day, and like it is the craziest thing. It's literally one body and it has 2 heads, and like
That's wild.
I feel like one of the luckiest people in the entire world that I got to have this animal because
You probably, I mean, it's probably actually like, I don't know the number, but maybe like one of 20.
yeah. So I
something
talked to
extremely small.
a friend of mine who has like a kind of a zoo with reptiles. It's
Mhm.
amazing. His name is Brian Barczyk, huge YouTuber, and he actually just got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So we've been praying for him, man.
I know that.
And,
I know Brian. Or
like-
I don't know him, but I've heard of Brian. And is that the news that everybody's been talking
Yeah,
about?
like it was just so.
Wow, that sucks.
It really hit me hard because he has been such like he's given me so much opportunity. Like he never had to, and he never judged me based off my followers. He's kind of just like
Just another guy like Jay, dude.
Yeah.
He's a great person. He's really always uplifting. He's always happy. He's always just like I said, just like Jay. He fits the role that he has perfectly. You know what I mean? He's eccentric. He's like, he has
such a good vibes. And like I went up to his place and I didn't know what to expect because obviously like his animals, like he spent millions and millions of dollars on these animals, his
He has
enclosures.
some really cool stuff.
Yeah, and so I went up there and he actually let me come on a day they were closed, and he has like everything was immaculate there, and I didn't know what to expect. I went there with me and my dad, and in Utica, Michigan, and basically they're like, yeah, like here's a key, like what do you want to see? Like you can do
Oh,
whatever you want, like you hang
that's
out here all day,
awesome.
like talk to
Yeah.
us, and I'm just a kid from like Lexington, and like I don't
You're
feel
like
like I belong, bro. Like,
I'm
like
sure
this
you were
is
like
crazy.
a kid in a candy shop though.
Oh my gosh,
dude, it's so cool.
So he had this. I fell in love. He has crazy stuff, but like $100,000 lizards and huge snakes. But he had this. It's a 6-banded armadillo, which is like
Oh, I saw this.
this name is Brillo,
That's
and it's
really
one of the
cool.
most controversial animals because the armadillos here in the States actually carry leprosy. They're called the 9-banded. They're the 9-banded armadillo. They're a little bit different. and they look different wise. I would say they're not as personable. They're kind of like a pest as you would like a
Yeah, yeah,
raccoon,
yeah.
a possum, in like I think Texas and Florida. But they carry leprosy, which is like super scary. You know, you wouldn't want to get leprosy
Yeah.
from your animal. But the six bandeds actually, which he has, they're very very prized, super expensive, and they are very personal. They're like a dog. And so when I saw
Really?
his, man, like I absolutely fell in love. And so something I'm actually gonna be posting on soon. I've never told anybody this really, but I actually got one, but I haven't posted it yet just because
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the right time. But like I
That's
got,
cool.
yeah,
Did you
I
have
got a
to
little
do
female.
anything did you have to do anything special to, like, own it?
So there's technically there's a lot of stuff that's illegal here, you know, like monkeys and tigers and all that stuff, which are exotic animals.
Yeah.
A few things that you'd be like, I can't believe that, like snapping some snapping turtles, alligator snapping turtles are illegal here,
We'll
which
just
like
go hit up Larry down Eastern Kentucky.
yeah, dude, it's like you wouldn't even think because they're actually native here. You wouldn't even think they're illegal. But
Yeah.
the six banded was a legal animal, and the journey I'm gonna document it all, which will be pretty cool. But the journey to get here was pretty crazy. It came from way out west, and yeah, like I just feel so lucky. It was a rescue, and I just feel like so lucky to have this animal because like
Has he
I love
kind
them,
of
dude.
already started, like, becoming personable
Oh, dude,
and
yeah. I'll have to show you some videos. Like it is, they're very smart. Like it, and one of the easiest animals to take care of that I've had experience with as far as exotics. It sleeps about 20 hours a day,
Oh,
eats
wow.
every 2 days, uses the bathroom every 2 days, and
Does he
yeah.
stay up in a like, curled up in a ball most of the time?
So I'm glad you mentioned that. So there's actually only one species of armadillo that can actually do that, which is a three-banded armadillo.
Oh,
The
okay.
others cannot curl up in a ball. They all have that armor on the outside that you see, but yeah, that's the three-banded is the only one that can curl up in a ball, and they look a little different. They're not as personable. So the six-banded is kind of the route to go if you want one.
Yeah.
Super rare, not easy to find, very hard to breed as well. And Brian, yeah, like I said, Brian had one, and I'm like, dude, I got to get one. So obviously, I reached out to him. He helped me,
Help you find
and
one.
yeah,
That's
man, I got
awesome.
got one. His like, man, his place was it was a dream,
Yeah,
especially.
like I said, I'm sure you're like a kid in a candy shop. I'm sure it's kinda life-changing, especially in your line of work. I mean, you deal with animals, your content's based around animals and stuff like that, so I'm
Mhm.
sure it was amazing.
Yeah, now he's doing a huge aquarium expansion,
Oh,
and
really?
so I'm actually going up there in the next month or so, and I'm bringing him a bunch of those paddlefish,
Uh-huh.
not the platinum ones. Unfortunately, we don't have any more of
Yeah.
those, but the normal ones, which are really hard to normally get unless you catch them in the river. Which
Yeah.
I don't think you can take them out of the river. But these are all captive bred, so they're 100% legal. And yeah, you just have that permits to transport them, and can't wait to bring those to him. And they'll be on display there, hopefully, and
So
pretty awesome fish.
outside of your 8,000-gallon tank, do you have, like, a lot of other stuff that you do, like, with fish specifically? Like, do you breed yourself, or how do you
So the thing about fish keeping, which a lot of people that are kind of diving into it are now kind of on the same page with, I would say.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of newer to the game. I've only been in it for 4 or 5 years, like I said, but it is very addictive, dude. It is like drugs. Like you
Yeah.
always want what you can't have, and there's so much out there.
That's why the rare stuff
And
is so expensive.
bro, like
Yeah.
I've seen some fish that have gone for hundreds of thousands of dollars to people. Like I know most people
For a
probably can't even
fish.
fathom
For a
that. Like
fish.
it'll probably live like hopefully 10 or 15 years. But if your tank leaks, dude, it's not like a say you have a Lamborghini, right? You have a
Yeah.
Lamborghini, you got insurance on it.
Actually, I'm so glad you said something about insurance. What is insurance like on animals like that? Not only the animals, but on the tank. Like, do you have to do anything special with insurance? Like, how does that? Not to get you too far off subject, but
So the only thing I can think of is there's technically not insurance. So if you say you get a company to build your tank, they might
Mhm.
give you a warranty, um, which but if you go through a company like you're talking big money, like tanks, I don't know
Yeah.
if they have a warranty, but I mean I'm sure
Well, not
you're
even only
paying
a
big
warranty
money.
on the tank, but do you have to have like some type of special insurance for the house, like if it were to break? Because I mean,
Dude, the
eight
only thing I
thousand
could think
gallons.
of.
I mean, that would like flood
Oh my
where you're at,
gosh, dude, that
right?
would destroy everything.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thinking I'm
exactly.
thinking the only insurance you could have would be like hurricane
Home,
insurance.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
know a lot of friends like in the same space that have like messed stuff up, man, like bad.
Bad, yeah,
And I've been there one time in my room. I had a 75-gallon tank, which is a smaller fish tank.
yeah.
And
But in a little room,
all of a
that's
sudden, dude, I'm yeah. In a room, it's like a good sized tank. And all of a sudden, I noticed like every couple days the water was going down by like an inch. And I was like, just maybe evaporation,
yeah.
And then I realized I went downstairs, like in the
Oh,
kitchen
yes.
area, the whole wall was warped, dude. Like
How long did it take you to notice?
Oh man,
Like probably like a week.
probably like a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I'm not the most
You
like
go downstairs, you're like, what?
proactive guy when it comes to stuff like that. I'm like, whatever, it's probably fine. Like there's no water on the ground. I can't see anywhere.
Yeah.
But then once the wall started caving in, my mom was not happy about that. And luckily we had some kind of insurance because our house was newly built.
Yeah.
And so we were able to like get that kind of fixed under
Repaired,
warranty.
yeah.
But like do that like that, like I mean, I don't know what I would have done. It would have probably been thousands of dollars in damage.
Yeah. Water damage is so bad. Water damage
Water
in general
is
just so
very
bad.
destructive.
Yeah.
But like you said with the fish, so there's no really guarantees with fish. It's really hard for stores to guarantee stuff just because
It's a living creature.
they don't know what your water's like.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, I would say most people tend to not take care of their tanks maybe as much as they should, which I've definitely been there before. Like, maybe put it off. And so you never know where someone's water quality is like, and that is really important when keeping fish. And so it's hard for them to guarantee stuff. So a lot of times I'll have fish shipped in from all over and they'll guarantee a live arrival and then like 2 hours after. So like, you got to get the package in 2 hours. And a lot of times the fish comes in alive, but you'll do have your few times where FedEx will just
Something
like
happens. And
well, like, have you seen those videos like FedEx or
Little-
UPS like taking the box and just like throw it out the window?
Dude, that's so messed up. They do that with the animals.
Oh, bro. So like the box is like we're talking. So to ship a fish, an average fish that's maybe this long from New York to here, you're talking $100.
Yeah.
$100 shipping just for the fish every time you place an order. Talking like just like the box comes in and it's like literally like soaking wet, and you're like,
Oh god.
you're like, oh shit, like this is not good. You know what I mean?
What guy at UPS punted my fish?
Dude, that happens. I'm not kidding. Like I've had everything happen, and really there's not a whole lot. Like you're kind of SOL. Like I've lost some expensive fish and shipping that weren't covered. That's just part of the
It's
game.
part of the game, yeah.
Yeah, like not to deter anybody from
Yeah.
ordering fish, but it really
Well, I mean, it's kind of one of those things like you kind of know what you're getting yourself. Like you're shipping an animal this big through a plane, like or truck. Or whatever.
dude. And I've got I've got some giant stingrays before that like legit came to me and like a specialized wooden box made for that fish. It's like $300 shipping, but the the fish is obviously very valuable to me for breeding purposes.
Yeah.
And I've seen some crazy stuff though in those Southwest Cargo what do you call them, facilities? Like,
dude, I mean,
like crazy boxes, dude. Like stuff that's like freaked me out, like bodies, like that kind of stuff,
gosh.
dude.
Here, let me see. So we're at an hour and 11 minutes. We'll probably go for another 5 minutes. Is there anything specific that you'd like to say to your fans watching this? Is there any special news? I know you said you have the video about the armadillo that you want to come out. And then you have the idea for the fish on the plane. What is some stuff that's coming up? Like I said, is there anything you want to say to your fans? What's next?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like so thankful. Like this whole thing has just been so surreal to me. I know that I always like think of like bigger picture, like, my fall. Like I feel like I've just hit the tip of the iceberg. We're at about 100 or a combined like 600,000 or 700,000 followers. But I feel like, we're just kind of at the tip of the iceberg, and I'm really just kind of getting my feel for like
how the game works.
Yeah, how the game works. I'm trying to like network, meet new people. Like I love new experiences. I love new opportunities. And I really think like the future is like, I have so much cool stuff planned. But like this initial good ground support was very important to me to build. And now I feel like I have a lot of people that are like backing me and that like really support me, which I appreciate more than anything. Because without that, like I would never be where I am today. Like I could not do any of this stuff without the social medias that everyone has supported me on. And it's been like such a surreal moment because, as you all know, like there wasn't a lot of, I guess social media isn't very prominent around here as far as like being a content creator. It's not very prominent.
Times are definitely changing, I feel like, but it's definitely not the best place. You know what I mean?
For sure.
There's limitations.
Yeah, like LA, I think if you live in LA, everyone's like pushing content. They're pushing
majority
acting,
of like
videos,
young adults.
And I'm just trying to get my feet under myself and really like improve my craft, being able to be more professional, being able to tell a story better, which really takes like years of work. The hardest thing that I experienced was having to come on YouTube, and I knew that I was going to get some kind of viewership and was really like gonna have to, I guess,
build your personality.
Yeah, like show my true colors to my my loyal Instagram followers, like, and not be perfect,
You said something earlier in the podcast that I actually did want to say, but it's perfect that we're talking about it now. You said that you stutter, And with us doing podcasts and stuff, I stutter, dude. Sometimes I lose my train of thought. Sometimes, I'll just blank, and it's just part of it. It's like YouTube, you kind of have like the ability to edit some stuff,
Mhm.
but like it's not bad, dude. We're all humans. Just because we're making videos of ourselves doesn't mean we don't have imperfections. It doesn't mean we don't have like I said, stuttering problems, or people like can't pronounce the right word, or I think content is like, people always want to say, oh, it has to be this, it has to be that, bro. It's just creation. Like, if you can make something that people like, that's all that matters.
For sure.
It doesn't matter like who it pisses off, who doesn't like it, because you know what? If somebody doesn't like your content or whatever along those lines, don't watch it. And that's like the most important thing I have to say to anybody. If you're a hater, just don't watch it. Like,
Just click. There's so much other stuff to watch,
like
right?
people getting canceled, like you have the full send shirt on, Steve will do it getting canceled, bullshit. Your friend getting canceled, bullshit. Like, just don't watch it. It shouldn't hurt your feelings that you're watching something that, you know what I mean? It's just, it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, there's
that
so many
people-
like other stuff. There's so much other stuff out there, and like I always wanted the thing. I always like. Sometimes I can lose track of this, especially the fun part of it. But like I just want to have fun with it, and like I
Yeah.
always.
It's your passion.
I told myself back when I was 17, like when I hit 10,000 followers, I was like, I'm never gonna forget, like, I guess where I came from, and I'm never gonna forget like being authentic and being real to people, and like never being too good for something, or never thinking that I'm better than anyone because of this or that success. Like I always want to have like the most humble mindset, and like really just like treat the person with 10 followers the same as someone with
Yeah.
a million followers. Like there's so many cool people out there that don't post anything that like have such a cool story. I know that you all
Yes.
with this podcast,
Yes.
like, I mean, there's millions of people out there that like
Stay
just have
humble
like
and
the
never
craziest.
never forget where you come from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm a big believer in that.
100%.
Is there anything you want to say to the fans specifically about a drop or anything like that right before we head off?
So I'm working on something right now. It's been very challenging, but I really want to do something with a supercar and an animal. So I've been working on it for like the last 6 months.
Dude, remake Ricky Bobby.
Oh my gosh,
Like
that's
a
a legendary movie, dude.
Yes, that'd be
That's
sick.
legendary. But I think
Just
that
an idea.
I think if I could get like, I've never had an opportunity to be in a supercar, and I think like
Yeah.
just combine the two and like just doing the craziest stuff. Like I love doing stuff that hasn't been done before, and also we're working on something. This is even crazier, and I know people are going to be like, "Chase, you're insane." But we're trying to work on something with delivering an animal to someone very special in a private jet.
Oh,
Now, the
that would be
logistics of that
sick.
are pretty crazy, but it would definitely be one of the coolest
Very
things I've ever
interesting.
done.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you can make it happen.
I know,
And
it's
hopefully
crazy,
I'll be
dude.
there to watch it. I'll be there to watch it.
I kind of try to manifest things, and I shoot for the stars. So I mean, it's a crazy idea in my head,
Yeah.
but I'm really we've been really like trying to go forward with it. So it could be
Yeah.
something that she's seen in the next year or so, or
That'd
6
be
months.
Awesome. That'd be super
For
awesome.
sure.
Well, I hope the best for you, brother. And stay at it.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate y'all
Yes,
having me. It
sir.
was really
Great
cool.
conversation.